Hello, welcome everyone to another Nintendo podcast. I'm your host today, Danny Tortelli, and I'm joined by Matthew Schultz.
Hi everyone, I'm here, just me with Danny.
Yes, as well as the ghost of Austin Cummings. Welcome, Austin.
Thank you.
We will get into it. We haven't done one of these episodes in a while.
He's somewhere yelling, Fire Emblem!
Right. Oh, yeah, they could just hear the lack of Austin. They're like, please talk about Fire Emblem.
Time to change fate!
Yeah, so the biggest thing we're going to hit to today is probably our favorite segment of the podcast. Matthew, would you introduce our segment for today?
Oh, let's jump right into Big and in the News. And I hope I spiked it for you, Austin. We have a lot of news today to cover, right, Danny?
Yes, some more recent, some bigger stuff. We're going to get into those.
Right, it's been a while since we've talked. So.
Right. Some of those Pokemons, some of those little pocket monsters have popped up recently. Get some thoughts on that.
The Pokemans.
Yeah, and then we got some other fun facts and some fun news bits and some sad news bits as well from the past couple weeks that we haven't really kept up on. But yeah, let's get started. Last week, it was announced, the Pokemon Direct on International Pokemon Day.
A true Pokemon game.
Pokemon Winterfell Edition. Just kidding. Pokemon Sword and Shield with wolf emblems all around. Yeah, these are the two new editions. This is the core RPG that we've been promised since the Switch launched. Yeah, so...
Yeah, there was that video with the Pokemon head guy who was like, I know we just showed you Let's Go, but don't freak out. There's a core Pokemon game coming. And it was like, all right, like that's like... Thanks, Nintendo. That was a very Nintendo way to approach the fan base about, like, in the same vein as them talking to us about Metroid directly. They've also talked to us directly about Zelda being delayed, Breath of the Wild when it was delayed. Like, that was their way of being like, we're sorry, but you have something to look forward to. Even though they had nothing to be sorry about because they were still releasing a Pokemon. Hold on. My Alexa just turned off all the lights. Alexa, desk on.
The power of technology, friends.
Programmed to go off at 11 o'clock.
Or it's a wild Ghastly just playing a joke on you.
Yeah, probably. So, anyways, everyone got a behind-the-scenes look at my
Welcome to ANP. Initial thoughts about this announcement just in general as far as, this feels like they said, the day before, there's going to be a 7-minute direct tomorrow, everyone pay attention. And I was like, 7 minutes, are we going to get that much content? And it really wasn't 7 minutes of a presentation of actual content. It was more like 2 and some change minutes. And then everything else in between was like, hi, I'm the director. Hi, I'm the president of the company. Hi, I'm the producer. Just kind of talking of the footage we could actually see, of those 2 minutes. We got a lot in there. We got the map of the world, the Galar region, aka the UK in Pokemon Land. We've got to see some of the scenery. It's odd. We keep making these Game of Thrones comparisons, but it does kind of look like Westeros as far as just this like one big UK-like island. The further north part is like all wintry and mountainy. There is a wall. I don't know if you saw that. I'm not even kidding. There is a wall kind of separating the cold part from like the next part down. Right. Plus all the wolf emblem stuff all over it too. And then it goes on and on. It's the rest of the big island, if you will. A nice little countryside, quaint little area. It's got some nice little towns still running with some water mills and things like that. And
the world's super lush looking. It seems obviously like the most immersive, version of Pokemon that we'll get. I mean, I like it because it looks different from Let's Go. Not that Let's Go is bad. I think Let's Go was a natural adaptation to the Switch, but one I thought like was strategically designed to kind of, showcase to a wide audience. Like it was cutesy enough to like be attractive to a younger group, but also like new enough for Pokemon, fanboys who've been playing the, generations of these games to feel like, oh, this is a new iteration of Pokemon on the Switch. Like this is the next step up, like in terms of like a 3D world of Pokemon. But it still felt like that could have been on the 3DS. This, though, it feels like, I mean, I guess you could argue the same thing. It still feels like more detail has gone into the world, the landscapes and the houses. Like in that first house that you see, the trainer's house, there's like, like vines running up the side of the wall, and like a lot of foliage outside, and just there's a lot of thought put into the design of the house. Now, I don't know like what the whole game is going to look like. There were some parts of the game play and the trailer that looked a little like choppy or blurry, or not perfect like what we saw Breath of the Wild originally.
Right.
And I guess I don't expect that, but what we did see from like some of the Pokemon, the brief Pokemon battles and animations just looked really cool, and this has got me really excited for this iteration of Pokemon.
Yeah, it's I love a lot of the setting, like you mentioned. They have kind of like the Big Ben sort of clock tower looking thing that looks really nice. It just looks like a cute, quaint little world to explore. And then it goes all the way up to like, we talked about the beautiful like nature settings and stuff. Obviously, all of this take with a grain of salt, because they made clear to say not final game footage at the bottom of pretty much the whole thing. Maybe, hopefully, why it was so blurry. Maybe that'll all be cleared up by the time the real thing launches.
Well, there was when they show the 3 starting Pokemon, they say like not official game footage, which is they're just like, hey, this is not actual graphics that would be in the game, or any sort of cutscene. Yeah. So they say that at the bottom, but a lot of the cutscenes we did see, obviously, were coming from game footage, and I think that. Like this particular Pokemon game is really exciting because it might be a little more like explorative. Like you might be able to venture off, and like my hope for the Pokemon franchise is that it does go in that direction where it's like, here's a world. Yeah, you could show up at this gym and it might be too hard for you, in the vein of Breath of the Wild, like, and you might not be ready for that, but you could certainly go and challenge that gym leader. Or that gym leader will just turn you away and feel like you don't have, enough gym badges yet. Or maybe they do away with that mechanic altogether. But I would love if they made it less linear overall and more like, welcome to the world of Pokemon. But I don't think that this is what that's going to be.
I know. When Breath of the Wild launched, and just the first few times I was hunting, all I could think about is like, imagine if this was what it was like catching a Pokemon in the wild. And all I thought about was the non-linear storyline, the open world aspect of it. And all I kept thinking for probably the past year and a half was just like, I want the next Pokemon game to be the Breath of the Wild of the Pokemon universe. Right. Having spent a little more time kind of dialing back my, thoughts down to reality, having played Let's Go finally, as we're into the new year, and I'm finally getting around to it and enjoying it, being a remake of Red, Blue, and Yellow, I'm realizing there may be some parts that we kind of start getting to. I mean, Pokemon as a series, as a franchise, that's baby steps to change, because they don't really have to change. They can make the same game for the past 20 years as they have and still print millions and millions of dollars while doing so. So I do think change is in the air, but I think it's a small little waft, if anything. So
and they have fine-tuned a lot of the game throughout the course of the various generations in terms of battles and online components, and they gotten really into the metagame. Pikachu. And they've really done a lot that I think has benefited the game overall. That made, even though like the linear nature of every game in terms of its story and what direction you go and how you advance through to the very end, to Elite Four, whoever they are, hasn't really changed all that much. That formula is pretty much the same. I think the inner workings of how Pokemon as a core RPG have really been fine-tuned, and I think that's where we've seen a lot of improvements in the franchise overall, and it's interesting to see what they retain and what they don't. So, talking about some of those things, right? So you were saying, playing Pokemon Go, that, actually one of your favorite things, and I though haven't played it, having watched you and watched reviews, would also agree that seeing the Pokemon live in the field
for
of play.
Let's Go we're talking about, yes.
Yeah, for Let's Go.
Sorry.
Is definitely, I think, something that would be amazing to see them transition over into the new game. However, that trailer gave us one major hint that was probably not going to be the case. When we see that trainer kind of crouching around through the grass, and then like it's like suddenly the camera like zooms in the same way it always does when you have a random encounter. And so that's unfortunate. But we talked about maybe it'd be a feature they'd let you toggle on and off, like as a, hey, are you a hardcore Pokemon gamer?
Yeah.
Then you want this off? You want the old school way? Then you can turn it off.
Or it's a skill you get. You know, it's you get the Sylph Company thing to view all the ghosts. It's so you could see them in the open
like
world.
telescope or something, or monocle or whatever it was. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could be put into some item, but I don't know. I think it's too good of an update to kind of, you know, shoehorn into something else. Like I think it should be available from the start. So what else do you think we'll see? What else did we see aside from the starters, which we'll get to? But was there anything else that you were excited about from the trailer?
I mean, I think seeing just the disparity. We talked a little about the setting. Just seeing the difference in the setting as it changes. You know, you start in this little cute like Hobbit town sort of thing. You know, it looks like it's the Shire, and then you move on to some like kind of industrial city, still kind of cute and British London looking. And then you move on to, like I said, all this kind of crazy weather and other kind of geographic patterns with mountainous regions. We see a quick clip of somebody walking in what looks like a soccer stadium, or any of you international fans of ANP, a football stadium. But yeah, so you know, is it like going into the aspect of this competitive within the world competitive Uber sport Super Bowl of Pokemon? You know, is that something we're gonna get, or the World Cup? I'm intrigued, yeah, and also you know, last thing before we get to the monsters, I think I'm just curious what the sword and the shield really means. Because like, you know, Sun and Moon, you know, had some kind of tie-in to the Alolan, am I saying that right? Alolan regions. Yeah, and something like that. So sword and shield, is this like some kind of war that has come, that was in the recent past or is upcoming, and the White Walkers are on their way, you know, that kind of thing?
Winter is coming.
Like, what kind of what is the essence of Sword and Shield? I'm intrigued. So
yeah, they both of those logos have that little wolf on top, and I'm like, is it a shield with like a little wolf head that like walks around, and a sword? Like, we already actually have a sword Pokemon. I'm forgetting the name.
Oh, jeez.
However, I will put it here.
Okay, Aegislash, heads up.
Okay, Pikachu, Iron Tip.
Pikachu knocked the wood up into the air.
There's so many. I mean, isn't one of them's like a set of car keys? Like, it's just dangling keys, right?
Yeah. They've had some better designs.
Speaking of those better designs,
had some better.
Yeah, they actually shared 3 of the new ones, the starters for this game. So first we've got Score Bunny, a fire rabbit, maybe firefighting, hopefully not another firefighting, because I feel like there's just a bajillion of those in the Pokemon universe. So there's Score Bunny. We have Sobble, which is the embodiment of a teardrop mixed with a chameleon. So uber cute, everyone's losing their mind. And then finally, and obviously Sobble's the water one if we didn't get that across. And then finally, the grass type, Grookey, a grass monkey.
With a stick.
Yeah. He's got a nice little banging stick that makes your grass regrow after being burned. So that's pretty cool. So interesting.
It's great for lawns.
New starters, really quick, based off of what we can see. You're going to throw it out there. As of today, what's your starter you're picking right now?
So we all sent each other text, and
Austin.
we initially all landed on 3 different ones. Me, being, me, you, and Austin. I, of course, said that since Gen 1, and I've only played 4 generations of Pokemon. Not the first 4,
Mm,
but first
Pika Pika.
2, and then I played Black and White,
Nice.
and then I played Ruby and Sapphire along with Gold and Silver and Red and Blue. But every time I picked a water Pokemon. So I'm going with Sobel. When I saw him, I was like, I'm not super big into the fact that he is very shy and he just looks kind of like a.
I don't know if your personalities are gonna mesh. You really gotta.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Every Pokemon like that ends up evolving into some behemoth, and I'm pretty sure I said that this thing better evolve into an amazing Leviathan. Otherwise, I am. Otherwise, I'm gonna have buyer's remorse. No, I'm definitely gonna go water. I've always gone water. I bought blue, and because of that, I loved Wartortle and Blastoise and Squirtle. Those were my. I just ever since then, Totodile, and then
throwback. We're getting deep dives here.
Here comes the Squirtle Squad.
My initial reaction was not Score Bunny. After I've sat on it for a few days, I've still not Score Bunny. That's one of those where I'm like, as a new Pokemon in this generation, I think that's okay. As one of the coolest top 3 that are supposed to be your starter, I was not impressed by Score Bunny. I don't know, the design that it's one ear and then it splits off into 2 ears is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's got a heart for an ear. It's weird. They're not 2 separate entities.
Right.
They're just
and
one ear attached to
And the name itself, I don't know. And I'm trying to not be too hard because I realize as an adult now, if I looked back through the original 150, how many of those names are just silly. There's a ghost Pokemon called Ghastly. That's very on the nose. They're not trying to hide anything there. I don't know.
There's a turtle with black marks on its face.
Yes.
Charcoal marks, and it's called Wartortle.
This is true.
Fun, but
maybe I just like turtles more than rabbits. Maybe this is just an internal thing I really need to spend some time, diving into.
Let's see. They could have been done Score Hair or Flame Hair or
Torch Bunny. No, that maybe it doesn't.
Or Flame Flabbit. Flame Rabbit.
Oh, Conflabbit. Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
I thought he was super cool just because his personality seems like he's just kind of fun and spontaneous. He's super curious and energetic. But at the same time, the first thing you think of is the Energizer Rabbit. Is it the Energizer Bunny? Now an electric bunny. You think they probably were we probably can't do an electric type bunny because of that?
That would be
we'll make it a fire bunny.
Great. It would be the next best branding crossover since the Game of Thrones Bud Knight Super Bowl commercial, hands down. But so I was like, oh, Grookey. You know what? Grookey looks cool. I haven't really picked grass in the past. I've always been either Charmander or Squirtle or Firewater. Grookey does look, based off of what I can see, looks pretty cool. But the more I've thought about it, I'm like, yeah, Sobble, there's something about him. He's getting to me. He's cute. There's something that sticks out. But Sobble, obviously he looks like a sad creature. A little bit of tears, a little bit of crying. And speaking of sobbing, we do have to move on to our next bit of news. Yeah, we heard that Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé, he let us know that he had a message for all of us to let us know that he will no longer be kicking ass and taking names or making games.
My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass. I'm about taking names, and we're about making games.
So he put in his 2-week notice. No, I'm kidding. It's probably got a couple months left.
I think he said end of March.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Maybe I'm wrong. But
yeah, we'll post the actual date.
Reggie's last day is April 15th, 2019. Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, I can't tell you I remember when he got on stage. I wasn't watching E3s then, but I certainly know that clip, and I certainly know, I've been following Reggie and have seen him as the face of Nintendo since I was in high school. And man, like it makes sense. He's been president for a really long time, but it's like also it's sad because it's sad. It's bittersweet because he's leaving at a time when Nintendo is in like the middle of a ton of success, and I thought maybe he would ride out the Switch years and kind of see Nintendo into the next phase and then leave. But you can argue that that's exactly what he did here. He rode out the days of the GameCube and
because he hopped
into
in like
the Wii
right
era.
after it launched. Yeah,
and he's seen several iterations of Zelda come to fruition. He's ushered in the blue ocean marketing strategy of the Wii.
Yeah.
He saw the flop of the Wii U as it tried to catch lightning in a bottle twice, and then of course he ushered in the Switch era, which has been awesome. And he's seen really Nintendo just like go through all of the ups and downs, and at the same time he's been so gracious to the fans. He's been even when he's been pestered to answer questions about Mother 3 or the next Star Fox or when Metroid coming out or where's Pikmin 4 or all the little things that fans feel comfortable enough with him,
right?
That they can continually ask him these questions or I mean, the guy's a meme.
He
my
always buys
my
into
Reggie
it.
is body.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go for it.
I was gonna say he's such a character, and he's accepted kind of that role. He appreciates kind of being part of those memes. Thinking back to the Wii Fit stuff and how much he like threw himself into some of those promos of him like lifting things and like really punching those nunchucks and things like that.
Oh yes, I think my favorite clip of him was from Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
For the Wii,
Super Smash Brothers 4 for Wii U. He for the E3 showing him and Mr. Iwata, the late Iwata.
Sure.
Basically got into a fight like on the screen in this like, and they were like fighting like Smash Brothers characters. And it was the choreography and the just the cinematography of the whole thing were so cool. We're playing it right here, but it was so cool, and it's just like little things like that where you're like, these are the heads of the company. And we get to see them. We got to see him as a puppet. We got to see him, pull out the new devices from his pockets over the years, and stand next to some of the Nintendo greats from Nintendo of Japan, and be able to present these things to us. And ultimately, we saw him be really goofy in the face of Nintendo in Nintendo Directs, which we now have seen getting taken over by younger, prominent Nintendo staff that are leading a lot of these games, like Anuma with Zelda, or our boy from our Shaking the Ice in the Cube gentleman.
I know who it is. I can picture his face escaping me now. We'll throw that name up, right here.
Thanks for that, Danny. It is Yoshiaki Koizumi, and he is the general manager of the company's entertainment and planning development division. Back to you guys. Boys, back to you, beautiful boys. Back, boys are back, baby.
Other CEO of an entertainment company, any company that has a fan base, has thought to outside of maybe like an email or a memo or some small words that are posted on the company website or like presented to like the media, to actually like produce their own video of a goodbye to Reggie, while also propping up Bowser, the incoming president. Right. And to do so in a way that's like, hey, here's been, some of my best memories. Thank you so much to all of you as fans. Like, I mean, really, like, none of us can fathom what his day-to-day job looks like. And yet I for him to have time to focus on fans like the way he has is just truly special. And it makes being a Nintendo fan, just all the more fun, and that's why it makes it all the more bittersweet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, as everyone knows, everyone who's loved this channel, I'm very much the average Nintendo player, ANP. But I remember first getting back onto the Nintendo bandwagon. It was right before the launch of the Switch. Matt made me watch when he went on to Jimmy Fallon's show to present the Switch and Breath of the Wild. And I was like, this guy's so quirky. Like, I don't know. He's like trying not to be too serious, and he's also not serious at all at the same time. But he like clearly loves what he's doing, and he like is trying to really show that heart, and I appreciated that. And that was like one of the big reasons why I was like, oh, now I'm interested in getting this crazy system that breaks apart into 3 pieces. And why I'm interested in this game, Breath of the Wild, a Zelda. I've never played a Zelda game before. He really helped sell that. And also, I don't even know. He looks really good as far as like age wise. So I'm like, he's ready to retire. Like, how is he like? I feel like he's got like another 10 years in him. Like, so that also like caught me off guard. I was like, wow, good for you. But we definitely wish him the best. It's super sad to see him go. It's super sad to see Nintendo really just give in to the enemy of all enemies and finally allow Bowser to take over. It's kind of
it's time.
We just could no longer fight. We didn't have enough plumbers left. And Bowser finally won. But no, I love this new guy, Doug Bowser. It seems like he's been taking a lot of these memes and stuff in stride, and I think he appreciates it and already feels welcomed, which is...
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good president.
Yeah.
He's coming up the same way that Reggie came up through, I think their sales and marketing division. Yep. And he is enthusiastic and engaged with the fan base. I mean, like, they showed some of those clips of him, pointing at, he's got the Bowser shirt on, and, he had the little funny, quip with the... the bit with the Mario and Luigi dolls tied up with a GameCube controller in the background. Like, he's really playing into it, and I can totally see him. Yeah, I can see him kind of building upon the relationship with the fan base that Reggie established. I can see him really like building on that and showing up in a big way. And so it's cool. We're in the Bowser era now, in the Switch era, and honestly, I think there's a lot of cool things coming up for Nintendo fans altogether, and it's cool that he gets to be at the helm now. And so I'll miss you, Reggie, but we know he'll always still be in our hearts, and I hope he gets a cameo in a game finally.
Yes.
Let's hope to see, maybe, just maybe, he'll be immortalized in Smash Brothers Ultimate.
I was going to say, maybe Mother,
we'll see.
Maybe in Mother 3, if nothing else.
Right.
Well, now that we've kind of addressed that and we're done sobbling, we're gonna move on to the other big monsters, if you will, monster rumors, if you will. Also within the past couple weeks, there's been some rumors of some other new Nintendo games that weren't announced in that big direct we got, shortly into the new year. According to Game Informer, they had an interview with the senior editor. The senior editor of Game Informer, Imran Khan. He participated in a show on Kinda Funny Games, in which he said, there's a game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo's reviving, and it's not one that people would expect. It was very much a title that was dead and buried, very officially canceled. So all of this is something he thinks Nintendo's going to bring back to life. And everyone started speculating what was dead that's going to be brought back as a Nintendo exclusive. What could it be? And then shortly thereafter, Nintendo Insider, Alex Seedhouse, he reported that he has confidence that this game is Scalebound, which was the Microsoft game, the action RPG. Yeah. The other monster that a trainer or master took control of.
Wait, what was it? He just speculated that it could be that, or he says, some sort of
He says,
evidence?
I have confidence in my sources to report that it is my understanding that Scalebound has been resurrected as a project to be released as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. He goes on to say, further to this, I believe that Scalebound is likely to be the game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo's reviving, kind of quoting what Imran had said earlier in the other interview. That Game Informer senior editor, Imran Khan, had hinted at on Kinda Funny Games last week, although there's the chance that he could have heard about a different project that would be resuscitated altogether. So Yeah, anyone from Nintendo Insider typically does have, I would say, a fair amount of clout and understanding. It's not just like a Reddit user saying like, "Oh, I heard of blank," and then everyone loses their mind.
Right.
So it's a smaller amount of salt that we can take this news with, but still some salt needed.
Right.
Yeah. So
I didn't. But okay, I thought Scalebound was a developed by Microsoft Studio.
So what the story was, after doing some digging, Microsoft was working on it. I think they initially announced it in 2014, and then by 2017, they put out a release saying they canceled it. It is Platinum Games, I believe, who's making it, or who was making it. And some of the...
And Nintendo already has experience working with Platinum to resurrect franchises a la Bayonetta.
Right,
so.
And the crazy thing was, one of the stories I was reading was that Platinum, when this game got canceled, when Scalebound got canceled, Platinum was, if this is true, kind of near like collapsing, because they were really banking that this was going to be a big seller as a Microsoft exclusive. They put a lot of resources in it. They had a ton of assets finished. There's gameplay online. You can YouTube it. There's probably about 10 or 15 minutes worth of gameplay you could watch. So yeah, they clearly have a lot saved somewhere of this game. And yeah, maybe after Microsoft canceled, it became open for anyone else to swoop in. We see this in the movie industry with some movies not getting picked up by the big studios, and then Netflix being like, "Oh, we'll take that, and we'll make it our own. We'll give you a couple extra bucks to polish it off, and then you can publish it on Netflix." So I could see Nintendo doing something like that, saying, "Hey, you got all these assets ready to go. I mean, you could see some of these dragons and some of these monsters that they're fighting."
Right. And they have that relationship. So I totally think that this could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, why would I mean? Again, it happened with Bayonetta. Like, I remember seeing that game. It was coming out during a time when Microsoft was just, and they still are, but they were scraping for any sort of original content to put on the Xbox, the early Xbox One at that time. And, they were losing a lot of ground to PS4, and it was a bigger blow when that game got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked really cool. I don't know why it got canceled. I don't know if directionally it was not going in the right way. I don't know. They didn't do the very Nintendo thing of being like, no, we're going to scrap it, and then tell the fans like we didn't like how it was.
Right.
They just shoved it in a drawer and were like, you know what? Right now, it's not financially viable. So
yeah.
And it sounds like the people at
was that Nintendo Insider?
No, the folks who make Bayonetta.
Platinum Games.
Platinum.
Yeah.
Gosh, this podcast.
Yeah.
Sounds like they are, I think, passionate enough about their content and the what they've created so far that, I don't know, maybe internally there was a big push to try to find someone to really pick up the development for this game and finish it. And I mean, Nintendo's the perfect company right now to be like, sure, bring it on over to our system. We're happy to have you, happy to take them more exclusive. It's like, I mean, also Platinum would be silly not to want to publish on Nintendo's console right now. So.
Right. And it's super doable. I mean, the footage you can see online is pretty high def HD. And so my initial concern was, how would that work? They'd have to do a lot of work to kind of scale it down. See what I did? But after seeing what they've done with the, there it is. After seeing what they've done with like the Ultra HD stuff of even just think Starlink. We had the whole show where we talked about how they brought Starlink. They did scale it down, but it still made it look good. There's companies like Virtuos who specializes in that. Just keeping the same game as true to its core and just making it a little bit more friendly for the hardware that the Switch is working with, a little less powerful. So it's possible. And I mean, again, they have all those assets lying around. I'm sure they'd love to. It may not be the same exact game that they were ready to publish with Microsoft. It could be slightly different, but you already have all those characters. You already have all those monsters created, a lot of those settings. It'd be silly to not, especially with a willing publisher like Nintendo, to just wrap it up.
That's huge. Do you think that's an E3 announcement then?
Possibly. It feels like there's two dominoes that you don't have to fall. First of all, does Imran Khan from Game Informer, is his sources, true and real that there even is an unannounced game that was thought to be dead? that's the first hurdle we got to jump.
Yeah, but we also got those rumors that are from Nintendo themselves that like there's like unannounced titles or an unannounced title. Now that was something that I don't know if that's something that they were publishing or also developing. Like, well, they didn't really specify, but
sure.
that could be this game too. So
right, so it's possible. Yeah,
they could all be true. It could be true that this is the game that Game Informer was referencing. But
yeah,
either way, we're gonna find out what we're gonna get some unannounced titles or some resurrected game, and at the end of the day, it's a resurrected game that gets to see the light of day and be enjoyed by some, hopefully many.
Right.
So cool.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So that kind of brings us to the end of the show today. We wanted to wrap up on some more recent news as well as some other things that we hadn't talked to you guys about in a while. But as always, thanks again for following us here at Another Nintendo Podcast. You can follow us on all of your podcast feeds of your choice. Here we are on YouTube as well. If you're currently listening to us on a podcast, come check out our video form. See all the cool work that Matt does for the video.
Another Nintendo Podcast. I'll just type that in, Another Nintendo Podcast. You'll find us and an Egyptian website or like YouTube channel.
Yeah,
but click on us.
Yeah, their Nintendo coverage is just garbage.
It's not great.
Yeah, so you could definitely enjoy all of Matt's hard work for the video if you check us out on YouTube. Hear of Austin's all good work on the podcast form. You can hear my good work of being the moderately attractive host for today. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we will see you at the next episode. Until then, so long.
Goodbye now.
Let me be empty. I'll weightless and maybe I'll find some peace tonight in the arms of the angel.
Hello, everyone. Reggie! I realized something when I was training with all of those classic games. Nintendo's great. I really had the best job in the world.